Hello.
Hi, Richard Lynch.
Speaking.
Hey, this is Wild Bill from Pure Country 104.9. How are you today?
Well, I'm doing good, sir. How are you?
I'm good. Are you in a good place for a little interview here?
I sure am.
Awesome. Well, it's very nice to meet you, Richard, and thanks for stopping by here. We're in Macon, Georgia here, and we also reach Dublin and Warner Robins and a whole lot of other places. Not sure if you've been through here or not.
Well, I have been, but it's been a couple of years. I love the Georgia and Florida and all the down south.
So tell me a little bit about your roots. You're originally from Ohio yourself.
Yes, sir. I come from a little old town called Waynesville, Ohio. It's about 30 miles north of Cincinnati, so we're down in the southwestern part of the state. Been here all my life. I just kind of grew up in a country music household and kind of influenced a lot by my dad. And he bestowed me into country music and farming, and I do both to this very day.
Growing up with your dad, what artists did he usually have on the radio or on the record player back then?
Oh, man, my dad always had Buck Owens going, George Jones. He was a big Gene Watson fan. His biggest influences would be people like Ernest Tubb and Hank Williams and all those, authentic, true artists from that era.
Well, the good thing, Richard, is that we are a classic country station, and I get to listen to that kind of music just around the clock all the time, and I really never get sick of it at all. It's just so rich, and it's the funny thing is too, when it comes to social media these days, I'm always learning something new about major artists like George Jones or Merle Haggard. Some things maybe I shouldn't know about, but you always learn different things, and they always have just amazing stories. Just living their lives for sure.
That's a fact. I've always thought that people like George Jones and Conway Twitty and Keith Whitley and Waylon Jennings and Mel Tillis and on and on and on, those folks have influenced me from the very first time I heard them until this very day. Their music, I never get tired of it. As a matter of fact, there's a station up in our area that's playing album cuts from all the old artists. It didn't necessarily get, all the review of the day, and the people are hungry for that music, and they're playing album cuts of those great artists from that yesteryear.
Well, you're a big fan, I understand, of traditional country music. Tell me a little bit about some of the songs that you're most proud of.
Well, as far as my songs are concerned, I mean, I write songs and I'm influenced by people that have heartfelt emotion in their music. When I listen to a George Jones song, I don't want to sound like George, and I don't want to write like George, but I want to give my own true admission or convictions in a song that would represent something George would do. So George Jones would have to be at the top of my list as far as, heartfelt songs that come from the heart.
I understand that you had had some time working with Rhonda Vincent, and I have interviewed her several times. And anytime she came to town, I had to be somewhere, and I couldn't make her show. And that's one show that I regret not seeing because I really do love her music. Her music is just phenomenal, and it's just so original too. She
really is, and not only is she an amazing talent, but she's an amazing person. I got to be in the studio with her a couple different times and record, and we actually got to do a live show together here last year. That was a highlight for me to be around Rhonda. She's one of my heroes, and to be able to play music and be associated with people that I call my hero, that's a pretty good day for me.
So tell me a little bit about iTunes and a couple of other things that I many times find myself learning about and unfamiliar with because I'm an old fogey, and I'm always learning about new sources of media and learning new ways music is being distributed. I understand that your music has charted on a couple of different playlists and charts and things online as well.
Yeah, from what I gather, my manager and Randy Havert, he takes care of a lot of the the social networks and all the things that you have to do today to get your music out there. And then my wife, is pretty active on all the social media. I really can't give you a direction as to how that works on my behalf. I'm always writing
We're
songs.
both lost. Yeah.
Writing songs, playing my guitar, and letting somebody else worry about that stuff.
Oh, I hear you. I hear you. You know, my kids I have an 11-year-old and I have a 5-year-old, and they're already getting into all this stuff. They, the weird thing is you give them a phone for just a little bit of time, and they already know about half the stuff that you don't know already when it comes to
Exactly.
This. Yeah.
I'm with you 100%.
How has country music changed, in your opinion, over the years? And do you still think that there is a hunger out there like it was many years ago for classic country music?
Oh, there's definitely a hunger for traditional country music. I play from New Hampshire to Florida, and from Texas to Minnesota, and all parts between. And everywhere I go, people are just kind of hungry for that traditional country sound. And I'm flattered when people spend their money and come to my shows and support what we're doing, and they tell me, Richard, whatever you do, don't change, keep traditional classic country music alive. And I tell them it's pretty easy to do. That's all I know how to do. So I really want to aim that direction. I think a lot of today's music has left emotion out of the music. When I write a song, I want to write a song and put my heart into it, whether it's happy or sad or honky tonk or whatever I'm singing about. I want the listener to hear that raw emotion that I think is being left out in a lot of today's music.
Well, I don't want to, you're in a position where I don't want to throw stones anywhere near this, but I mean, I will say it just seems to me that sometimes Nashville tends to move on to the latest and greatest craze, and the listeners haven't. Where they decide that, okay, you know what, this artist, they've been around for a while. Okay, we're not, when it comes to them getting airplay on the radio or paying attention to them, that's nice, but we're going to move on to somebody else. And it just seems like that, the country music listener, that's not the case for them. They're still loving that music. They haven't left it. They haven't decided that they have moved on from it at all.
That's very true, and country music fans are devoted. They want to be able to say that they met this artist. They want to be able to promote that artist, support that artist, and for an artist to shun away from the traditional roots, I feel is a disservice, because there's so many millions of people out there that are still hungry for that traditional country sound. And there's me, and there's a few other folks out there that's still writing and recording that traditional country sound. And I know it's not going anywhere. It's just a matter of us having the success to find a connection to get our music heard. But once it's heard, people tend to really they gravitate toward it.
Back in 1953, tell me about your song, and we plan on playing it right here on Pure Country 104.9 as well.
Well, that song was really interesting. It's a true story. My dad had given me an old 1957 Gibson guitar when I was 19 years old, and that's been a long time ago. And it needed restored. It needed a bunch of stuff done to it before I could play it again. So I was doing a show with Exile, and I got to become friends with their guitar technician. And he told me that he could repair my guitar. Well, I had a good faith in it, and I knew that he could do it. I just really didn't want anybody to do it, but I felt in my heart he could do a good job for me. So I let him have the guitar. He did indeed restore the guitar. About 3 weeks later, I was playing it, and I hadn't played the guitar in 25 years. And as I was playing that guitar, this raw emotion came over me, and the song was born. I just wrote back in 1953, just holding that guitar that I hadn't played in all those years. All that emotion came over me. That's how I wrote it.
That's a killer story. That just makes me want to listen to it right now, right at this very moment. So what a great story. What an awesome story for sure there, Richard.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Love Tattoo Foundation for Veterans. Tell me a little bit about that and how you came up with that. And are you a big tattoo person yourself?
Well, I'm a huge supporter of our men and women who support our military. To me, you can't do enough to help them, to do for them. We do an annual event in Michigan once a year, and we raise money for a place called the Wilwin Lodge, and any and all soldiers, veterans from World War II to today is welcome there. It's a 1,200-acre facility. It has a 60-acre fishing lake, and it's designed to give recreation and a little getaway for our veterans. Too many folks today and veterans are actually committing suicide, and I find that reprehensible. So if I can do a little something to make awareness of a place that can give our veterans a place where they can get their head together, that's just my little way of giving back.
Awesome. Very cool. Richard, before we let you go here, tell me a little bit about how people can find out more about you, your band, your music, and where can they go?
Well, go to richardlynchband.com, and you can find all the latest and greatest things we're doing, our new music, our merchandise, our tour around the country, and more importantly, you can find out that we are truly dedicated to keeping real traditional country music alive.
Richard, thank you so much for joining us here at Pure Country 104.9, and we plan on playing your song coming up next here, 1953.
Thank you, sir. Good talking to you.